Hello and welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Corey. Today I'm going to be flipping this piece, and this is the inspiration that I have for this piece. I'm going bold as part of a challenge hosted by the Crafty Creech and Creeps designed by Twitch here on YouTube. They have gotten together a bunch of other YouTubers that are going to be flipping vintage and antique pieces with bright colors. I'm really interested to see what everybody's going to do, but this is the piece that I'm doing. It is a vintage piano bench. The inside shelf that was for the drawer that holds the music, the cabinet that holds the music, is gone, missing. I'm not going to try and recreate that, but I am going to give it a really good cleanup and work on this thing to give it new life in a completely new way, new vibe, new feeling, new theme with all those bright, happy, spring, cheerful colors. The first thing that I'm going to do is take the top off. I'm going to do this because I do intend to paint it, and I'm not going to paint the top. So I want to take it off so that way I get good paint adherence everywhere else without the top being in the way. I don't want those hinges being in the way on the side or anything like that. Although I do need to save these parts because I'm going to be reusing those hinges to attach it back on later, but not to flip up. I'll show you that. I'm not going to be saving this part because it is no longer going to be needed since it doesn't flip up anymore. I am going to be completely upholstering that top piece so it won't need to be painted, but the legs, the frame, everything else needs to be painted. I'm also going to paint the underneath side. And you can see it's really going to need a lot of cleanup before I can paint. Piper and Nino are going to be helping me out with cleaning this. Those are my dogs there. Piper is my shadow. She follows me everywhere I go, and Nino kind of just does his own thing. I also have another shadow that you can see in this video in the background. My daughter is just over a year old. I love to have her nearby when I'm doing my crafts, just for supervision purposes, but also because she loves to be a part of it, and she kept trying to get through the baby gate. You can see all her little fun maneuvers that she does. But I had to make sure that she wasn't over here while I was doing this just because it was so nasty and gross and she would try to touch it. But it's time to paint this baby. I picked Spring Green by Rust-Oleum. It is a very vibrant, almost like lime green, and it has like a little bit of a blue tint to it, especially on camera. It took 3 light coats to get really good coverage on this, and I barely even used 1 can. Now it's time to upholster it. I'm going to be adding 1-inch foam for the cushion. I don't need a big huge cushion on here. It's a very slim lined piece. The design of it is very slim and slender, so I didn't want a big top heavy part on there, so only 1 inch would be fine. Make sure to glue down your foam when you're working because when you go to upholster you don't want the foam to pull while you're pulling the fabric. So glue it down nice and tight, and then you're going to put some quilt batting over the foam. This helps to prevent any weird straight lines or weird bumps. It rounds everything out and kind of blends the edges together, so that way when the fabric goes on you have no idea that you just cut out a 1-inch piece of foam. The fabric looks good on the cushion, looks natural and whatnot. You're going to just cut off all the excess as you go, including when you do the fabric. You're going to just repeat that same process when you put the fabric on over top of this. I will link everything that I used in here that I can find on Amazon. Some of it was thrifted, like this fabric. This fabric was secondhand. It is actually a bed sheet that I thrifted. I thought it was a gorgeous bed sheet. I can't even believe this was a bed sheet. It's still so vibrant and bright, even though I'm guessing it's probably from the 1960s. But you're just going to repeat the same process that you did with adding the quilt batting when you add the fabric. The only difference really is perfecting the corners, just making them look a little more finished. Quilt batting stretches and flattens out much nicer than fabric does. Plus you're not going to see any flaws of the quilt batting, so not a big deal when you do that. But I am going to give you guys a close-up look of how I do the corners. If you have any questions about it, just leave comments down below and I will see if I can link another video for you. There's tons of tutorials on YouTube about upholstering and how to do different corners and things like that. But this is just the way that I do it. It's the way I've learned to do it, just through trial and error over all these years. I think upholstering is one of my favorite things ever to do, at least simple upholstery like this. After that was done, I made sure to trim off all the excess like I did with the batting and everything, and then I'm just going to reattach the legs back on using all the same pieces that I had taken off in the beginning. So I'm just reusing the hinges and screws. After a little trial and error, I found that pre-drilling the holes and then hand screwing the screws back in was the best way to do this. I offset the hinges as to make it a little bit stronger. I thought in my mind that that would make it stronger. I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but it worked pretty well. Next, I'm going to add some fancy trim to the edges. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you've probably seen me use lots of different types of trim whenever I do fun upholstery work like this. I love adding in character this way because it helps, for one, finish the piece off, and two, it really makes it custom and special to you and gives it more whimsy, more fun, and just more personality. I understand if it's a little too colorful for you for your home, but when watching this, don't think of it as these colors are the colors that you have to use on your project. You're just going to choose the things that work for you in your home. If you want to do all neutral and pick a nice, beautiful neutral trim. The trim is just very vital to make a piece look finished and custom and well thought out, I should say. My two favorite places to buy trim are at Walmart in the ribbon aisle and also at Hobby Lobby in the upholstery aisle. Last but not least, I'm going to use some gold leaf rub and buff to add faux feet to this. Since the legs are so long and slender, I wanted to add a little bit of dimension there by adding gold feet to the bottom. The end result turned out so beautiful, and there's really no other word for me to describe it other than whimsy. That word just comes to me when I look at it. It is so whimsical. It's fun. It looks like it should be in a garden somewhere with fairies flying around in springtime. It's full of light and joy, and that is something that really embodies my personality. I hope you guys liked it. Please check out the playlist down below. And if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!